Now we have a panel discussion on technology in CT implementation. I welcome all the panelists. Mr. Nandaraja Shetty, Senior Country Manager, Tally. Nada Seder, Project Manager, Audo Middle East. Nikhil Joshi, Finance Manager, Data Capture Systems. And the panel discussion will be moderated by CA Rohit Dayma, General Secretary, Abu Dhabi Chapter. Please welcome the panelists.
Thank you, Suma, for the introduction. And I extend a warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists. I am extremely delighted to join you as a moderator for this session today. At the outset of this session, I would also like to compliment the entire team of Khalij Time as well as ICAI Abu Dhabi chapter for orchestrating this remarkable event today and empowering all the professionals with a tons of knowledge so that they can serve their companies, clients and the tax authorities in the seamless implementation of the corporate tax in the UAE. Are we all up, all awake? Give me a thumbs up. I think we had a bit of a heavy day today in terms of understanding the nitty-gritty of the legislation, various cabinet decisions, different interpretations and the overall complexity of the corporate tax in the UAE. I am sure many of us are already kind of exhausted with the amount of information we have in our head now, and probably it's a lunch time, so it would be very difficult to digest more information. But let me tell you, this session is not to feed you with more information, but trying to make your life easy and create some awareness about the technology and the digital infrastructure which can essentially support you in the implementation as well as the compliances. We have seen how technology has transformed the various aspects of the accounting and finance, and in the era of technology, it is really critical to have a robust digital infrastructure. Abraham Lincoln was quoted saying, "If I am given 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will spend first 4 hours in sharpening the axe." And that's exactly what we need to do now. By establishing a robust digital infrastructure, we are effectively honing our tools for effective implementation of the corporate tax. With this little groundwork laid, I would like to go to our esteemed panelists to get some more insights on the role of technology in the implementation of the corporate tax in UAE. And I would like to start with Mr. Nandaraja Shetty, who is the Senior Country Manager at Telis Solution Private Limited. And my question to you is, what role does technology play in the implementation of corporate tax? And can you also share some example of how technology has benefited businesses in handling their tax matters?
Yeah, would like to thank ICAI Abu Dhabi chapter and Katie for giving us an opportunity to part of this discussion. To go back to questions now, technology will definitely play a vital role in CT implementation in UAE. If you see, UAE has been driving this technology adoptions for last few years in terms of, let's say, tax administrations. Just to give an example, the basics, like every business is expected to maintain a books of account for minimum 5 years, right? Still now, we have seen several businesses are still on manual process, some are in Excel. But with the introduction of VAT or now CT, now in between, let's say you had this ESR, so things will not be the same for future. You need to have some kind of automations to be in place, right? Now, if you see, go down further down, now the VAT authority from the day one completely digitized. From the day they introduced the registrations, the deregistrations, or the payment of your VAT, or it could be reconciliations, or it could be a refund. Entire process is digitized. So the expectation from FTA, from the business side also, that the digitization has to be there, so that there could a kind of transparency or real-time data available with every businesses. Now, if you go down further, if you see KSA or India, both have implemented this e-invoicing, right? Now, that is one step down towards real-time information which you're sharing with the authority for some kind of auto calculations. Having said that, here also we expect some kind of automations will come into picture soon. It could be in terms of VAT filing, or it could be kind of data transfer. So going forward, for every business, be it a small or a medium or large, having a basic infrastructure in place should be there, at least to automate basic books of account. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nandaraja. I think that was a great insight. You know, while it is feasible for a larger companies to have a technology in place, probably what you have mentioned can be a good motivation for SMEs as well to consider having a good technology. You know, the next I would think about the technological advancement, and I would like to go to Nada Sedar, who is the project manager at Odo Middle East. You know, I would like to know what kind of specific technological tools or solutions are being used in UAE for the, you know, corporate tax implementation, and how the advancements like, you know, the robotic process automation or AI or data analytics have, you know, impacted the tax processes.
Sorry. So hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me in this panel discussion. To answer your question, I think it's different between the type of technology that you want to use. For example, the first one that would come to my mind, since I work in an ERP company, I would say an ERP system. So basically, an ERP would help you have all of the financial translation of events in the different areas of your business translated into the accounting side of the same platform. So everything is reflected in a real-time manner in the same place. Yeah. That would be the first thing. So the second thing would be tax management software that would definitely help you with the calculation, that would help you to ensure you are following the regulations of the CT that you're looking at. Another one would be the data analytics. Data analytics is very important when it comes to the automation side, because it will give you a better productive analysis of your situation, of the calculation that you're going to get, and all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nada. Next, I would like to go to Nikhil Joshi, who is heading a finance function at Data Capture System. And since you are leading a finance function, probably you can also share a perspective from you know, a user aspects as well. And sorry, I think you'll be the right person to share about the, you know, the challenges and the risk. So my question to you is, what challenges do business face, you know, in terms of the implementation of corporate tax, and are there any potential risks associated with relying heavily on the technology for the tax implementation?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, thanks for giving me an opportunity to be here. Basically, just to give a 2 minutes introduction about my company. It is a data capture system, so capturing of the data with the help of barcode, RFID, and wireless solutions. So we cater to, you know, end-to-end solution in the field of, you know, automation. It's hardware, software, and post-sale services. So coming back to the question, yeah, as far as, you know, challenges are concerned, of course, there are many, you know, starting from, you know, staff training and the, you know, processes to be implemented, data management, budget constraints. So there are many such challenges. But honestly, you know, if you look at the crux of the challenge which we are facing in, you know, particularly in the corporate tax, I feel is the selection of a software, you know, honestly, because, you know, why I'm saying so, because you need to align your software with the legal framework that is required. Because, you know, nowadays, I mean, we've seen, you know, there are n number of software companies are available in UAE market, be it right from small tech to mid tech, and even from the, you know, tier 1 software companies are available. However, whether it is seriously required for your company, every company, every management of the company need to see what is the legal framework that is required for their own, what is the application that is required for their own company. Because the first instance that all of us have seen here is, VAT implementation. And honestly, it has gone so smooth that a lot of people are saying or probably expecting the corporate tax to be in the same fashion, which I'm sure it will not be. It will be bigger in terms of, the scope. So when we are talking about the scope of corporate tax as such, people have to really drill down as to what is their real requirement. And based on that, selection of software is the key. Because otherwise, what we are talking about is of course, the implementation will hopefully be the smooth, whatever software you choose. But then it becomes a white elephant, So the maintenance of that software and the implementation later on really become tight. I also would see the challenge that we might face is that, again, as I mentioned, that there's a smooth transition from VAT in the VAT implementation. So when I was talking to a lot of my colleagues, I got to understand hardly 50% of UAE, workforce or probably UAE companies have thought about, real framework and the implementation of corporate tax in their, they have not prepared. The compliance perspective is pretty less as of now. So I think that could be another challenge, what I feel. As far as risk of having overloaded with the technology, see, we all understand that it's a lifeblood. Technology is the lifeblood for all the companies, all the corporates. However, we have to also see that is there any self-assessment? Because relying on any technology would not be the key. We still require the human resource. We are talking about digitalization, and particularly in the sector of banks, whereby they are saying the automation of the process, these and that. However, you have to have the expertise subject of tax matter. You have to have real adequate and experienced people who can support you. So post implementation, once the implementation of corporate tax starts, you have to have adequate people to support that mechanism, whereby you can really self-assess the tax matter. And FTA particularly, there are so many regulations which are coming from FTA. You have to be very, fast in terms of implementing those aspects ASAP. So I feel those are the risk areas.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nikhil. And while we are talking about the challenges and risk, I would also think about the security and the protections. And I would like to go to Nandaraja again. And my question is, with the increased use of technology, how are the data security and the protections, concerns are addressed in the context of the corporate tax? And what are the measures in place to ensure that the sensitive tax informations are not, or remain protected?
Well, if you talk about only corporate tax, I think we can take as a whole gamut of business data instead of just corporate tax. Now, when it comes to business data, there are two kinds of communication which happens. One is internal, one is external. So internal is basically talking about within the office, within the network, or within a group of network. Now, every business will have their own infrastructure, which is in the current situation, which is well equipped, and it is very simple to have something which is well protected. When it comes to external world, there is a challenge comes in. If it is a small companies, I'm talking about, if you talk about, let's say, when they communicate in the external world out of your office, out of your network, having a right infrastructure may be a challenge. When it comes to a medium or large companies, definitely they will have their own IT infrastructure. They will have advisors to do that. Now, the challenge what comes in is basically, see, the internal communication, we will have, let's say, users created with the profiles defined, or let's say there is hierarchies already defined. So we'll have a proper process in place. But when it comes to external, we will have to use a proper channel to communicate.
Nowadays, even the reading of the mind of the regulatory is also essential. Because, why I'm saying so, because, government across the globe are investing heavily on the artificial intelligence, and, wherever companies or corporates are not relying on those kind of AI, they will be have a serious issue. There's a classic case in Indonesia whereby tax to GDP ratio between 2010 and 20 was declining, which is the meaning of this is, that means the tax authorities were unable to collect the adequate taxes which was projected. So they moved to artificial intelligence heavily, and then it was a complete reversal of the game. So those kind of environment are going to take place. So that's what I'm saying, the professional working in these kind of environment needs to be there. They have to go one step ahead, whereby it's like, game of chess, whereby you have to start reading mind of the, opponent. Here, not opponent, probably you have to start the reading mind of the regulatory. Yeah, so that is how it is.
Thank you, Nikhil. My next question is about the future trends. And, what trends do you foresee in the continued integration of the technology in the corporate tax practices? And how might emerging technologies like, the blockchain can impact the future of corporate tax in UAE?
Well, I think my both panelists, they touched upon the subject. I think immediately what we can expect is, as I touched upon earlier, one is electronic filing she touched upon rightly. We can expect that to happen soon, maybe not in near future, but definitely going forward, that is one way forward, where it will be on complete automations between VAT systems. Other than that, I touched upon about e-invoicing. That is also probably, if not now, maybe later, going to be one of the things which can be applied in this country as well, because that is where you have an integration between a business system and tax systems. When it comes to a blockchain, definitely in the same process, blockchain, what will happen is it will bring more transparency and more accuracy in the data, or let's say data transfer between the multiple systems.
Thank you. I wanted to open up a floor for the audience, but since we are running out of time, I will request you to please connect with our esteemed panelists during the lunch time. And thank you so much, all the experts, for giving your views and the great insights about the technology which is already available in the market and can be benefited by any companies. Thank you so much, and thank you ICAI and Khalid Times for having us here today. We'll just take a picture. Yes. Please.